Welcome to online TV. We want to take a class on what you're calling a value of asking question, and we need to encourage our viewers and our students that it is better to ask questions rather than answering questions. And we want to encourage you that you can ask a question or you can pose your comment, and remember that you can enroll on this online class anytime, and you can use those numbers that are going through your screen, so that you can be able to join us anytime. So please feel welcome to join this class. My name is John Kemani. Now, questions are never foolish. There's nothing called foolish questions. It is those that fail to ask questions that are actually stupid. Interesting. So, and that should be a tagline that should guide you, so that as you venture, as you join this class, you understand that it is better, it is important to ask questions. Now, our course will take 4 lessons. Lesson number 1, we shall justify that asking questions is actually far much better than answering them. Then we shall give 12 reasons or 12 benefits of asking questions. And then we shall look at Jesus Christ and be able to share 8 questions that he actually asked. But we can only, we know scholars tell us that he asked about 135 questions. We can only ask a few of them, so we have sampled 8 of them, and we want to know why those questions are important today and why they matter. And then simply because we are of the opinion that a leader should be a question leader and not an answering leader, we should be able to provide 10 questions that we need to be, that every leader need to be asking. There are various types of questions the leaders ask. They can ask why, they can ask what, they can ask when, they can even ask how, they can even ask where, they can ask all those types of questions that a leader can ask. So why don't you allow us to begin with our first lesson on asking questions is better than answering questions. Now, John Maxwell gives us a very interesting insight. He says you only get answers to questions you ask. You only get answers to questions that you ask. It is very interesting to note that children are the expert when it comes to ask questions. For us adults, we don't like asking questions. We're presenting this course to you because we believe we should be like children, especially when it comes to asking questions. It is very shocking that there is a very few or very short population, that very small population that actually talks about that actually ventures or actually loves asking questions. And we are asking, somebody might be asking, John, why are you bringing this course to us? What are our personal motivations? Because number 1 is that learning to ask questions is more important than asking wrong ones. You only get answers to questions that you ask. And Vanessa actually gives this advice. He says, ask the right questions if you are going to find answers. And how do you answer, or how do you ask right questions? By asking wrong questions first, because it's a skill. Learning to ask questions is actually a skill that we learn, okay, and that it should be very, very important. And then we should shift. The next motivation is we should shift from asking questions to to answer. From answering questions to asking questions. And this shift we are saying is very liberating, because it gives you opportunity to learn from others. It makes you to think and to find answers. And you can only make this shift if you are creative. A scholar called Anthony J gives an observation, and the uncreative mind can spot wrong answers. The uncreative mind, that mind that is not creative, is able to spot wrong answers. But it's only the creative mind that can be able to spot wrong questions. Remember, in school, we are trained, we are encouraged to answer questions and to answer them correctly. Because if you don't answer the questions that you ask rightly, you are going to fail. What are we doing? We are rebelling against the school system. We are saying, you don't need to answer questions right. What you need to do is to ask the right questions. Motivation number 3. Asking questions adds value. Asking questions add value. The goal of Google, Encyclopedia, or Wikipedia is to answer questions. That's why Pablo Picasso made a very shocking statement. He said computers are useless because they only give you answers. And our hope is to make you better than a computer. Instead of reproducing, instead of making answers, we need to make you somebody who is asking questions so that we can find answers to questions we can provide answers that we've never thought. It is from questioning that we are able to add value, that we are able to unearth new information, new revelation, new insights that has not been availed earlier on. When you read books, when you watch videos, when you read articles, they are as a result of men and women asking questions. Right on my table, I have a book that says Taking Your Church to the Next Level. And this book simply answers the question, how do you take your church, your organization, to the next level after going through many challenges? So it provides answers. So this book is valuable because it's an answer to a question that have been asked. Every move, every video, every book, every article that you've ever seen is as a response to a question that have been asked. And when we find such a book like this, it simply is an answer. It's a tool that is very valuable to us. Asking questions, motivation number 4, is asking questions will increase your strength. If you master the art of asking questions, as we've said, you become more valuable. Remember, you are judged by the questions you ask. A person is judged by the questions that he asks. Your greatest strength then lies not in the answers that you give, but rather in the questions that you ask. Okay. When you ask questions, you lead people to answers. When you go to a meeting, you ask the members questions. Why did we start this organization? What can we do so that we can become more profitable? When did the rain start beating us? What are the options that are ahead of us? When you are asking those sets of questions, what you're going to become is you're going to increase your strength. Number 5, When you ask questions, of course, then you increase the odds of your success. When you ask questions, it makes them to think. It makes them to start engaging their mind into what we call overdrive. Somebody said, Inga said, that asking right questions give the answers that people need to move forward. Part of the paralysis, part of why people are not moving forward, is because they are unwilling to ask questions. If systems have clogged up, it will take somebody to ask, why are the systems not moving? Why are they not going as they are expected? Such a question then will be able to interrogate, will be able to go and search for those answers, and so increase the odds of success. Anybody who does not ask questions then, of course, cannot become successful. That's why if you look at David, he asked questions. He asked questions. If Haman had actually sat down and asked himself questions, we believe completely that he would not have ended up dying the way he died. If Nebuchadnezzar would have sat himself down and asked himself questions, he would not have ended the way he ended up. But the jailer asked right questions. That's why he ended up being saved, because he asked a very good question. What must I do to get saved? What must I do to escape eternal damnation? And Paul came in and provided an answer which gave him odds of success, higher odds of success. That means motivation number 6, we completely believe that questions are catalyst of growth. They actually speeds up, they actually quickens, they actually makes a growth to speed up. Remember, we keep on saying that a man is judged by the questions that he asks. A man is judged by the questions that he asks. And so when you ask reflective questions, personal questions, when you ask questions about your life, about your performance, about where you're headed, about the performance of organization, what will happen is that you're going to spark answers, insights will flow, revelation will flow. You're going to see things that you've never thought about, things that are hidden. And what will this mean? It will translate to growth. So it is important, dear viewers, to ask questions. Motivation number 7 is that asking questions, of course, gives us what we call Kaizen culture. That culture of improving, that culture of solving problems. Remember, you cannot be able to solve problems that you've not seen. It is based on the questions that we ask that we are able to search for answers, look for clues, gain insights, gain ideas, so that we can be able to move from where we are to wherever it is that we need to go. Much of the progress that has been made in life has always come because people are willing to question. People are willing to ask tough questions. Why is it not moving? Is there any other way that we can do? When did the lane start beating us? When you ask such set of questions, of course, what is going to happen to your life is that you're going to grow. Motivation number 8. Okay. Motivation number 8 is questions are better than answers. We're living in a culture that believes it is better to answer questions rather than ask questions. But, and by the way, anybody who asks questions is seen as arrogant. And when you give answers, when people short questions and you are able to answer them, you are respected. But again, we've learned when you ask questions is a sign of humility. It's a sign that you want to know. You want to gain knowledge. You want to add to your you want to reduce your ignorance. So asking questions gives us answers that we need in life. Okay. So let us ask questions. And by the way, Jesus asked more questions than the answers he gave. And you're saying a leader needs to ask 5 important questions. A leader needs to ask 5 important questions. In fact, there's an article by Abby Perkins, a publication of 2017, which is titled 5 Simple Questions That Successful People Ask Themselves Every Day. Note, they ask themselves every day. And here they go. Question number 1 that successful people ask themselves. Number 1, am I in the right Nike? In other words, am I following my passion? In other words, am I doing that which I love to do? Am I following that which I was naturally born to do? If you are not following your passion, if you are getting tired and angry doing that whatever it is that you are doing, then you confess that you're not in your right track. Number 2, am I learning from my mistakes? Am I learning from my mistakes? Every successful person would want to learn from his mistakes. And not only stop there, but would go engage in overdrive to be able to collect those mistakes, so that the product that comes later is